Hello and welcome to episode 196 of the Peak Endurance Podcast. I am so happy you are here with me today or this evening or this morning or whenever it is that you're listening. I am really excited about today's interview as I'm all about enhancing recovery and performance. So this really ticks all those boxes. However, first of all, a bit of an update about me. I'm doing my first 100K of my 12 and 12 this Friday, the Oxfam Trail Walker. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to last week's podcast, episode 195, to find out all about my 12 in 12 challenge. Personally, I can't believe that after all my time running, about 17 years, would you believe, I have never done a trail walker. So this shall be a new experience for me. So that's this Friday. And then the following weekend, I have the Buffalo 100. Bit of a difference. Buffalo's just a bit more hilly. This is a quick turnaround, but the only race I could do in April, as I detailed in last week's pod. And to be honest, I've only been getting back into training recently, so I haven't done a whole heap of hills, but I have a lot of muscle and mind and determination memory in this department. So fingers crossed that'll all be fine. I'm sure it will be. And it really does nail the challenge component of it all for me. It's a real challenge to back up 200K races in 1 week. Alrighty, so now on to the podcast. This week, I had the honour of interviewing the amazing Dr. Zulia Frost, who is trained in both Western medical science and Eastern philosophy and is the co-founder of Recharge Health, who are at the forefront of innovative health technologies and the creators of Flexbeam, a portable red light therapy device. Now, red light therapy, that's like the red light sauna kind of thing, but this is a portable device, is clinically proven to relieve pain by targeting the root cause of pain instead of just suppressing the symptom, including muscle and joint pain, arthritis, menstrual cramps, and dental issues. It can reduce inflammation by stimulating the body's natural anti-inflammatory responses and help your body heal more effectively. It can help to repair skin by enhancing skin elasticity and production of collagen for an anti-aging effect and speed up actual healing of wounds and scars. It can revive your immunity by releasing nitric oxide and melatonin for powerful antimicrobial effects and help prevent infection by viruses and bacteria. You can regain performance by reducing delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, and giving your body increased energy and endurance before and after exercise. And Dr. Zulia goes into how to exactly do that. So I'm sure you'll love that bit too. You will be amazed by what Flexbeam can do. I know I certainly am. I personally have had chronic calf and quad pain for years on my right side, for years now. And this has been the only device that has helped. And believe you me, I have bought all the devices known to man. You name it, I've probably bought it. This one has helped. Ron has also had sort of ongoing issues with his hamstring if he does any speed work. And this has been massively reduced by using the Flexbeam only a couple of times a week because, quite frankly, he's not good at remembering that sort of thing. But even so, it's still helped. Now, if you are interested in getting one of these for yourself, and I do highly recommend them, check out the link in the show notes. Also, as a special bonus, use the code in lowercase IsabelRoss10 to get 10% off at checkout. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the podcast. I think you will learn a lot. Till next time, bye. Hi, Dr. Zulia, and welcome to the Peak Endurance Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to share all my knowledge about the red light therapy, for everything what is, your listeners want to hear.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, as runners, they're always very interested in anything to do with, pain management and recovery enhancement and those sorts of things. Now, as I said in the introduction, you're the co-founder of Recharge Health, and you look at innovative health technologies, including specifically the Flexbeam, which is what we're going to talk about today. And Flexbeam is a portable red light therapy device, like I said, designed to enhance recovery and relieve pain. Now, before we get into the Flexbeam, can you share with the listeners your history of pain from a car accident you had that led you to being involved with Flexbeam?
Oh my God, every time I talk about this, my heart sinks because it's a tremendous experience. It was a deadly car crash. And so took me, good 7 months to go back to more or less functioning. And that is the time when, my right leg was paralyzed. So at the young age, I was thinking, that's it, my life is over. And seeing people walking in and out of the hospital on two legs, you just cannot comprehend how much it was a desire to live, desire to be back to health again. So I looked, because my background was a medical doctor, already I knew a lot about health. So I designed for myself a physical program of exercise, how to get back on track. And also there was a will to drive to recovery so much. And I think this is essential. People need to believe they're gonna get there no matter what. And I put absolutely all my energy, all my efforts. But of course, whilst you're exercising, I realize how much connection with nature is necessary. So I used to, through pain, through tears, actually run through this to there. I live near the mountains and see the sun, rising sun, and I literally worship that rising sun. It was intuitive, my connection with this sunshine. I didn't understand yet the meaning of that, but I felt this is very healing for me. And I tell you, it was every morning at sunrise, I would go and run. And that is, in the essence, was red light therapy for me. That was the beginning of me understanding that. Then through life, I was left with really debilitating pains in the body as a result of that car crash. And through my life, I found actually technological solution to that. Not necessarily drugs, because I just didn't want, I was young, I didn't want to be on drugs. And so through life, I learned about interactive neurostimulation. I learned then about photobiomodulation. Then I studied acupuncture to understand how this energy, what it's doing for my body, does it circulate, runs. And all these experiences brought me to the point where I was offering this to my patients. And my patients wanted this because they also were somewhere on a point when they no return. They tried everything, they couldn't find the solution. And when they add the energy solution, they're using physical devices, and that made a difference. So at this point in life, I thought, my God, I need to be involved with making something tangible so people can take home and use this device for their own recovery. And that's how I was looking for founders. And I found the group of guys who share absolutely my belief and my perception of the body. And collectively, we came up with the Flexbeam device, which is producing red light therapy. And so that's where my journey now begins, to tell the world about this, tell the world about my experiences, and knowing this is something which is going to be life-changing.
So basically, you find that using that helped you to live, like, basically you're pain-free now?
Yes, I am. I am completely pain-free. I continue to exercise, not every day, of course, we all have busy lives, but this is essential part. Because you see the pain, if you understand, and actually I spent quite a few years to understand pain through prism of patients who would come for me for solution for pain. And as I said, they would already tried other avenues, everything what's available, including physiotherapy, including their osteopathy, of course, drug therapy. And so what people don't realize, the pain would happen if the body would be lacking on oxygen. Yes. And that's why the oxygen gives that, you can't run normal energy processes. So your pain becomes like achy, horrible, like nagging sort of sensation to it. Of course, there will be elements of compression, from
So
different.
when you say with oxygen, in what way are they not getting enough oxygen then?
It's typically because the cells cannot function normally. It's a cascade effect leading to this concept of striving for energy. Because when you don't have enough oxygen, the cells go into anaerobic energy process functioning, which is insufficient for energy. It doesn't give you water. Cells become dehydrated. It doesn't give you energy production sufficient to run the processes. So the cell goes even more into deficit. And when the cellular processes run low without oxygen, they doomed to die. And you can't expect recovery when metabolism is in a deadlock. So the first step towards recovery, it's actually to repair your cellular energy processes, which concerns mitochondria. And
Yeah.
anything you could do to enhance mitochondria will lead to ultimate recovery. That was my
Yeah.
discovery. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously the mitochondria need oxygen and you've got to get it through working through the system to be available to be used. And the red light helps with that.
Yes, this is the easiest process to explain the benefits, but also another process to say that mitochondria is very sensitive to toxins, to environmental pollutants. Recently, we all experienced this COVID virus, yes, hijacks mitochondria. It's basically the disease of mitochondria, in my view. So anything which destroys DNA of mitochondria, it makes it very small in quantity, then cell cannot produce sufficient amount of energy and generate you this necessary vitality which you need to recover. Because one thing people don't realize, when they take medicine or even supplements, it still requires the cells, the body to process it. It still has to be gone through the liver and eliminated through the kidney and eliminated out of the body. You still need physical, tangible energy to do this process.
Yeah.
So whatever you put in your body, it has to go through transformation. Food digestion, again, we need energy through food, but in order to make that energy, you have to break it down, assimilate everything. This is also requires energy. So whatever you go, wherever you go, it absolutely fundamental to the body. And if this process is lacking, the cells go into anaerobic functioning. You literally, it's a process to destruction, and you would never recover without it.
So what causes those processes to break down?
Well, typically, number one, we could say everything harvest through the sunlight, yes?
Yeah.
So that's why people go and feel so much better when they're outdoor. However, our lifestyle has changed so dramatically. So we spend so much time indoors, and we lack in these lights. You could see in my office, I have windows everywhere. I want light to come in at
Yes.
every photons. I want to have it in my body. So the body used to harvest energy from photons of light, sunlight particularly. And so if we don't have it, and also second process is second aspect is there was a revolution in our lighting industry. Yes. First, we were lighting things with the candles, and candles have this healing. It's called near infrared spectrum of lights, yes, which is you can't see it, but it's like very close to red spectrum. And it's got so many health benefits. It actually protects, it has cellular protection mechanisms. But from these candles, which has a little bit, and outdoor we use campfire, which also have near-infrared spectrum. And then we moved into this white lights, then even blue lights. I don't know, in about 90s, everything was neon blue in fashion, yes. And now we have LEDs, and these LEDs, they don't have anything of near-infrared spectrum, zero. So if you only rely on your lighting, it's not going to help you. So although it looks like light, it's missing that crucial spectrum of light, which has massive healing properties. So the solution is, of course, to get this outdoor in the sunshine, or to use something like is designed for you to take this part of sunlight and put on the body. And of course, another aspect is, as I said, we moved as a society into this heavily industrial states where we use all mobile phone, Wi-Fi. We get tremendous amounts of pollutants. It's called electro smog. You know, gadgets in the kitchen. Go and count your kitchen gadgets. It's incredible, and they all send in you dirty electricity. So you can actually be damaging your DNA of mitochondria by excessively beaming with these all electromagnetic pollutions. Um, uh, People find very often what helps is when they run on the beach barefoot. Yes, because they discharge in that static electricity, at least partially cleansing the body. Chemicals, food, our food became very polluted. The agriculture full of pesticides and herbicides, and with food we eat this. Another aspect we don't realize that the supermarkets have a practice now, particularly vegetables and fruit, they radiate them. They're actually exposed to weak radiation, and that is absorbs in the plant. So then when you consume it, you get that radiation too. So
why do they do that? Is that to enhance the color or the visual appeal or the
no, to prolong the life or shelf life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you see, when you start looking into environment, you're constantly bombarded by it, and no wonder we really become sick. I mean, look, in my practice, I see a lot more younger people now than used to. I used to have 60, 70 population. Now it's 30, 40 population. You know, it tells you something. And if you don't take care of your body, you won't live to this 60, 70, trust me.
No. Well, they're saying that now that younger people know will not live as long, and I'm guessing that's part of why.
Yeah. And there's, of course, you need to understand and start take care of yourself early enough. And I'm glad to say the younger generation really kind of get it. Of course, they do it for vanity, but they go into the gym,
That's
right?
okay. Yeah.
They do it for vanity, but they eat good food. Like it's the self-awareness is happening, and not like generation of 60s and even 70s when they used to take drugs and alcohol, you know, like a regular thing. Now I'm glad to see the younger, and they have to because they won't survive otherwise. So
Yes.
that's the world we unfortunately live in, but we have to adapt, right?
That's right. And if you're using the Flexbeam, not specifically to help with pain or to enhance recovery per se, but to, enhance your health, how would someone go about doing it just for what you've spoken about, to reduce the effects of the toxins in the environment?
Yes, it's absolutely important, and I am very pleased to say the Flexbeam was designed to actually to do both, help you to recover from injuries or recover from, let's say, poor sleep, but at the same time, it helps if you're completely healthy. It just enhances your energy metabolism in the body, which means prevents you from being ill. Here, I would like to explain a little bit about the benefits actually of the near-infrared light. I mentioned that it's helpful. The Flexbeam works using the same as coming from sunshine wavelengths, red, visible, and near-infrared, which is invisible. And near-infrared is a part of the spectrum of infrared band, which probably takes about 40% of the sun spectrum. Huge, right? And it consists of near, mid-range, and far-range, or A, B, and C. So near-infrared light is very interesting to scientists in terms of discoveries that it directly absorbed in mitochondria in the force complex. So it physically designed to absorb photons of light and use it to create ATP energy molecules, to create flow of electrons and protons, basically create the charge in the cell. And this charge is so fundamental because charge is basically how much potential energy your body has. Like when you go to the gym on regular basis and exercise, you constantly rebuilding this charge because the way our cells are piezoelectric, they've got this ability to self-charge. So if you use light, you also can recharge the mitochondria. So particularly red and infrared light spectrum is focused on that. If you go further away in the like mid-range and far range of the infrared, then that effect is waning, but then your water bodies start absorbing light. So you still gaining their energy from the sun, but it's you become hotter, because it's absorbing water, and water becomes more energized in your body. So all this aspect you experience when you, for example, lie on the beach and you become hot, really hot, right? That's you absorbing that mid-range, far range of infrared lights. So this one aspect is that you potentiate energy. And second aspect, not many people talk about this, but I'm going to tell you, it's super exciting. It stimulates production of melatonin. Near-infrared light is particularly make your cell to produce subcellular inside your cell melatonin. And most people probably relate to melatonin and they say, oh, this hormone helps us to sleep.
Yes.
That regulates cycle, yes, very important, but it also very powerful antioxidant. So if you, on one aspect, make mitochondria work a lot harder, at the same time, if you produce this melatonin, it cools down the engine of mitochondria, clears this reaction oxygen species. So you do these two things at once with just near-infrared light. You can stimulate energy production, but also clean excessive damaging reaction oxygen species, which makes the body age, which makes the body become ill because they, very toxic for the body. So in this case, when you look at the aspect of red and infrared lights, you suddenly realize, my God, I could actually help myself to stay alive with energy, and I can stay younger. To me, this is ultimate rejuvenation device because you give vitality to every cell, not just, your face, not just, some parts of the body. It's just all of the body.
So with the Flexbeam, and for those people who are listening, you can either go to the YouTube video to see it, or we'll just sort of describe it. Probably the length of putting it on you could put it on your calf muscle or your arm, and it's flexed because it's flexible and moves. So if I wanted to, I can just plug on my body, and
yes, you're right, because at the beginning of my quest to this photobiomodulation, I read so many science papers, and they say in order to get this melatonin release, you need to look at the light. So like you have to stare at it. And I'm thinking, well, not really. You can stare. Flexbeam is really powerful. You can't really stare at this. Yes. Put it on the body. Yes. And then I came across one paper. This is from Chinese researchers. They use on volleyball players, and they put the whole body stimulation with red light, like a panel, and they shield completely eyes, so none of the participants. And guess what? They still produce increase in melatonin. So from that point onwards, I of course experiment with using Flexbeam on the body. This is position probably the best for this, where you put it across the midline of the body, over the chest, over the stomach, again, as well as good. So 2-3 positions putting across the sort of front of the body or over the spine will give you this systemic rejuvenating effect. But it's you don't need to stare at it.
No, yeah,
It's good news, really good news.
Yes. And like for, say, a runner, because, this podcast goes out to runners who run, really long distances, like 100Ks or 100 miles. If they're using it, like, say, they've done a 60-kilometer training run for recovery, would they put it in a similar position for recovery?
Actually, my suggestion is like this. So you can do two things with Flexbeam in terms of performance. Number one, you can prepare yourself for personal best, yeah. And number two, you can use it for recovery. I actually recommend to do both protocols. So you start 24 hours before you start, planning your run. So in this case, you need to put, like I described, the front. So first position here, and then over the stomach. When you go over the stomach, it has to be positioned vertical and then horizontal across the waist. Yeah, I call it the cross position technique. So you could do this for 20 hours before, or you could put it over the spine. And over the spine, you need to use over the top and then go covering all of the spine. This is a spine controls everything in the body, like somatic, physical body. So it controls the nerves, blood vessels, muscles, everything. So that would be 24 hours. Then an hour before, you need to put it over the muscles which are going to be engaged the most. So in this case, both calves, in this case, probably all the thighs, quads, and even if you can put it on the sacrum area, because there is a lots of impact going to be, and your sacrum will be the one which is taking all the impact. So that is 1 hour before. Probably you do like 4 positions. I of course work with 2 devices, so I do in half an hour. 6 positions.
That's helpful.
Yeah. So if you have a chance, if somebody is really focused on that, have 2, and then in half an hour you cover 6 positions in the body. So you really prepared your muscles to do the job, and then once you finish, again, at approximately 1 hour later, you again place over the muscles, which now you feel stuffed with this lactic acid, and you feel absolutely rotten. Those who have really like symptoms of adrenal fatigue, they could also use it over the adrenals, which would be approximately above the waistline at the back. So that if you place it like this, it will cover left and right modules and the spine as well. So I tell you, we did in-house, we did a little study, and we tested using Flexbeam against 2 sham devices or placebo devices. What it means we just block the lights. It was absolutely doing everything, like making noise, fans,
and did it look like the light was on? And
yes, light would be here going through this one, but it's nothing gonna go through the body. So it will be a little light escaping, but tiny little lights. So basically participants were blinded because we also did it at the back, so they couldn't see what's going on. And the person who was doing testing also, he was just taken randomly assigned with just number devices. So, and what they did to prove the point, they did maximum exercise until fatigue. So in this case, I think they were pushing the bar down and until they got fatigue. And we calculated how many push they could do. Then we would look overall for each participant. And there was definitely a trend, particularly 1 hour before or 1 hour after, where they did the most. It was quite interesting. So we kind of assume on this basis to give you a recommendation of 1 hour. But be free artist, try, maybe something works better for you.
Is it possible to overuse it, use it too much, or is that not possible?
It is possible. In photobiomodulation, there is a concept, they call it biphasic dose response or Anschutz law, which basically means if you pump too much energy in the body, the body starts showing no effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is interesting concept, and it's quite difficult to overcome because, you know, if we all were uniformal, the one thing, but we all different. We have different metabolism, we have different vitality, age, even gender would make the alteration. From our perspective of the Flexbeam, we have in each 3 programs, we already calculated the dose, the right correct dose. So if you place on one place 10 minutes, which normally cycle is 10 minutes, then you achieve the dose. So you just need to move to other, you don't need to repeat on the same place many times. But how much is too much? It's a little bit individual. I'll give you a window. I would say in the most scenario, 3 position is enough, up to 6 the maximum, I would say, in one go. But if you repeat day by day, like now, not talking about recovery from exercise, but from injury, for example, you do daily, then you have to be watching. So if you suddenly start feeling, I don't get the same warmth or same sort of recovery effect, then just stop 1-2 days, and then you resume, and it will work again. So what I'm trying to say, there will be effect if you do too much, but it's nothing like nobody gonna die from it.
Yes, it's not going to cause a problem.
No problem.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So you alluded to injury there. So what about if someone's got like a chronic pain injury from running, you know, a strain or something that just the conventional things aren't helping with? How would they use the Flexbeam to help with that?
Yeah, it's very straightforward. Where you experiencing pain, you have to place the device there. Yeah. Particularly if you're trying to heal tendon injuries, tendinopathies. Yeah, they're difficult to heal because very poor blood supply, number one. So when you use Flexbeam, we already talk about the energy aspect. We already talk about reaction oxygen species aspect. But one aspect we didn't talk is that fact that when it in mitochondria binds with oxygen better and faster, it's actually at the same time kicks out nitric oxide. And this nitric oxide is really useful stuff in small quantity, of course. It's vasodilate, it dilates blood vessels.
Yes.
So what it means for the body, when you have better blood circulation in the damaged area, you heal much faster. I mean, everything, talk to surgeon, they tell you after surgery, they say, get up and walk as soon as you can, so that blood circulation can happen. Because blood brings oxygen, nutrients, and take the waste away, all this metabolic stuff, yes? So instead of just getting up and go, you can put Flexbeam, which will stimulate blood circulation locally where the process is going on. And then, in addition, when you stimulate with red light and near-infrared light, it's particularly affecting the collagen tissue. Collagen, elastin, the part of the connective tissue. Well, like, for example, with ligamentous tissue, you know, full of rich of collagen. So what it does, it remodels it a lot faster, and you produce much better quality. So it's not brittle, fragile, breaking scar tissue. It's already in the first, weeks already you start producing a quality, which then remodel into tissue which is damaged very beautifully. And it stimulates production of fibroblasts, osteoblasts. So you can repair ligamentous damage, bone fracture, muscle, of course, damage, and even different organ tissue damage, because, that's the nature of light. At this point, people should realize we like using the infrared lights, not just for, that is full of benefits, but also because it penetrates the tissue. It gets through the tissue and delivers photons deep. And our Flexbeam is really powerful. It can deliver it up to 10 centimeters, that deep.
That's quite deep. Yeah, very much so. I've been using mine. I've had a chronic calf issue for a couple of weeks now, and I have to say I have been noticing a reduction in the pain.
Excellent. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, and it's been one of those things. I've tried everything on, and nothing was helping, and it was getting me down, because it's frustrating. So yeah, I've certainly have noticed, and I've stopped using other things so I could just experiment and just use the Flexbeam to see, so that I couldn't say, oh, it might be something else. So that's been really helpful. And how does using the Flexbeam say, because runners do like to go into infrared saunas, so what's the difference, say, between a sauna and a Flexbeam?
Yes, it's a good question. You could combine infrared sauna with Flexbeam. Most of infrared saunas use far infrared lights, but the very modern, very latest one, they start using, they call it full spectrum. So they would have near infrared, mid-range, and far range. This is the best one, but you still can use Flexbeam. I'll tell you the reason why. Although these photons which come from infrared, like they all around you, they're beneficial. The difference with Flexbeam is that it's targeted. So you can literally bend and target around your knee, for example. So you get 3-dimensional beaming, and you focus all that light, which, let's say, in saunas, and panels is the same. They shoot in photons and they come at different angles. This one focus to penetrate and deliver deep where the injury is. So if you Achilles tendon, yes, you wrap around your Achilles like this. Calf, you wrap around your calf. And you can also, through programs, you can direct where you want this beam to be focused on. Program 1, it's only focused on the skin. Program 2, on smaller joints. And program 3, very deep. Like if you want sciatica pain, you won't put it on the glutes, you need program 3. So the purpose of Flexbeam, that is wearable and targeted, so you can put it on the body, target exact points of injury. And so another thing I want to say that you could also do, you could tie Flexbeam to your knee, for example, if you have injury of the knee or low back, and actively move. Like you do yoga, you stretch with breathing, but you stimulate your injury whilst you're moving. This is really amazing effect. And one thing people also need to understand, if you deal with very chronic injury, which has been there for a while, it may be a result of something else in the body. So for me, runners suffer with lots of leg issues. It's directly linked with the sacrum. Please, 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 everybody who listens to me, use Flexbeam also on your sacrum.
I have to admit, I have been as well as the calf.
Yes, because calf is innervated with sacral number 2 vertebra. So not vertebra, the spinal cord. So the so-called dermatomes, they go and all the back of your leg. So if you have pains in that region of the back of the leg, you must put it on sacrum. If you have issues like front of the knees and upper thighs, you need also include lumbar section of the spine, because the body is all interconnected. So not just local application, but you can start with local and you feel resolving fine. But if it's not, go and think of the connection in the body, different parts.
That makes sense, and that's really good advice. All right, so how do people get their hands on one?
Well, we have a website. You can place your order on our website, and it normally comes. It's actually being manufactured in Thailand. Okay.
Okay.
It's going to be package sent, and very good tip to you: when you order online, it calculates everything, all the taxes and everything, so it comes to you. Don't need to pay anything.
Yeah.
Wait for customs. Yeah, we have also very good dedicated team, support team, which if anything goes wrong, you can go to the support team and they will handle it. And on support, we have support website. So when you get to the main website, there will be one tab says support. When you click on it, it takes you there, and we uploaded everything there. How do I start my device? What's caution, precautions, all the list, frequently asked questions. And I put there all the key protocols, like how to get the energy, how to, immune boost, how to sleep better, because you could optimize your sleep, which ultimately result in a better performance, right?
Yes, absolutely.
How to breathe better, and then specific body parts. So you can find all the protocols there on the website, on support website. So
I'll put the links to that in the show note. If you're listening, just go to the show notes. It'll all be there.
Excellent. Yes. Well,
Is there anything I haven't covered or asked you about? Is there anything that you think would be good for the listeners to know that we haven't talked about yet?
I think we covered pretty much, and I think what people mostly ask, when do I see the results? That's what people normally ask.
Yes.
How soon
True.
do you see results? Yeah, and I tell you, this is a gadget which will help you in your recovery from injury, from sleep, from recover, just fatigue recovery. Yes, but remember, we are all different. If you're more or less healthy, if you're athletic, you should see the results immediately after 10 minutes stimulation. You should feel, at least you'd say, oh, it feels lighter, this part of my body. And somehow, like if I run and I get backache, I put it there, I immediately, my ache is gone straight away. But of course, I want to define your expectations. If you bring it to your mom or dad and they kind of aging already, and so you put on them and they say, there was some improvement. They have much less vitality. They need to build up that energy resource before they start feeling their results.
Yeah.
So effectively, anyone can use it, family, and so even pets, you can put it on the pets. Just use it short the time, and pretty sound, pretty.
Yeah, because I was going to ask that actually. It's okay for everybody to use, anybody.
Yes.
Is like an age limit? Like who's
Yeah.
too? Is there too young?
Yes, I mean, we legally say 12 years old and older, but it's, as I said, if you go younger in age, you just need to half time, then half of the half time, just less exposure. But it's effectively, it's light, like from the sun. There is nothing to worry about. And hydrate yourself afterwards.
Yeah.
The same, you've been on the beach in the sunshine, you want to come and drink lots of water, please do. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been really interesting. And certainly, like I said, from myself, I have noticed improvement. So highly recommended. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today.
My pleasure. I really want everybody just to try it and using it and be excited how it's helpful in everyday life. Thank you so much. Thank you for hosting me today.
Thank you very much.